Hey, what's up, guys? This is Tony McBride, also known as Tony the Screenwriter, giving you the very first session of my video series for screenwriting, where I kind of walk you guys through how to become a screenwriter and what to do as a screenwriter. And in this course, I'm going to kind of give you the nuts and bolts of how to write a screenplay. And with it, it's going to be very informal. I'm going to give you very detailed, grassroots, ground level information that you probably can't get in most books. And this is from a person who has written a bunch of screenplays. I went to a bunch of screenwriting classes. I've also, been through mentorships. I've also worked with different consultants, and I pretty much know a lot about screenwriting right now, to a point where I can probably teach a novice. So if you're that avid student and you're just browsing the internet, browsing YouTube, trying to figure out how do I become a screenwriter, and what are the ins and outs, ups and downs of becoming a screenwriter, this course is for you. It's called All About Screenwriting. It's my YouTube tutorial because, as a screenwriter myself, I use YouTube a lot to learn about screenwriting. And so, since I took so much from YouTube, I want to kind of give back to the YouTube family and the community and talk to you guys about screenwriting. Now, before you buy your first book, before you buy your first software, before you think of your first screenwriting idea, before you sign up for your first class, any of that stuff, you got to handle the main thing first and foremost. Because if you don't handle this first thing, this first most important thing that you must identify, and you must have this thing so clear in your mind every day that you're a screenwriter, because when things get hard, when things get dark, when people talk badly about you, when people say bad things about your script, when it gets too hot, when you get when you get fired or laid off or have to quit your menial jobs, and you're just thinking about packing up everything and going home to Oklahoma or Pittsburgh or Philadelphia or China or Nigeria, wherever you're from, you're going to have to lean on this one thing as a screenwriter to keep on going. And the one thing is called, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you a screenwriter? Why did you opt to move to LA? Why did you opt to stop being an economics major and start getting into film? Why did you opt to quit acting like I did and open up your laptop and start writing your very first script? Why are you here? This question is supposed to be designed to really give you the foundation, the psychological, emotional foundation that's strong enough so that when you write this thing down, when you have this thing etched in your mind, you kind of have that foundation that'll keep you going. Okay. Now, why? I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here because one, I like movies. I like movies, and it's so much deeper than just paying your $20 to go and watch your favorite action sci-fi movie at the Regal or AMC. I really love movies. I grew up on movies. I liked E.T. I liked Star Wars. I liked Men in Black. I like Meteor Man. I liked The Bodyguard. I like Action Jackson. I liked all the movies back in the day. And when I first found out how to make movies, it was even better because I found something that I love to do. And one of the key principles of success is doing something that you love. All right. My prior life was I was in sales and marketing, and I was an inside sales representative, an outside sales representative. Was a 9 to 5 corporate job, and then I went into the military. I spent 6 years as an Army intelligence officer, and then I was forced to leave that, and then I was left with the daunting task of going back into the 9 to 5 world when I left the Army. in 2012 or do something else. And I decided to kind of go after something that I was passionate about, something that stimulated my brain in a way that nothing else had. And at the time, before I joined the Army, I was doing background actor work in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I did background work for Nicolas Cage in National Treasure, and then I did work on this television show called Hack with David Morse and Andre Brower, and then I studied a little bit of theater here and there, and then I took some on-camera classes at the local casting directors, and I loved acting. I liked being creative, and I really got to see acting from the business side first. I really worked with a lot of casting directors. I saw how they viewed the business, and I really had a more professional take on acting and entertainment from a professional view, which was great. Because you can't be all art and all expression in the entertainment business. You have to know entertainment from the business side. Knowing that will keep you alive, because you have to know when you pretty much stink at acting, and you pretty much have to know how to get good at acting. And you won't be able to know how to get good unless you talk to some of the people that have seen lots of actors, which was for me casting directors. So when I came to LA, I was doing acting for 4 years, and as I was training for acting, I trained in Method, I trained in Meisner, I trained at New York Film Academy, I trained at UCLA Extension, I trained at Ivana Chubbucks, who trained Brad Pitt and Halle Berry. I trained at a lot of places, and I read a lot of scripts. And one thing they told me is that when you are going to be an actor, you're going to have to know how to be a writer and a director and a producer as well, because you're going to have to produce your own stuff. So as an actor, I read a lot of scripts, and I always had an infatuation for writing. After 4 years of acting, I ran out of money, I ran out of patience, and I still wanted to tell stories. And I saw American Sniper, and it was about 2015 that I saw it, and it was great. I was moved by it. I was a military veteran, and I said, "Wow, these Hollywood guys really love the military stories, so maybe I should just start writing military stories." And then about 2015, December 2015, I cracked open my computer and started writing my first script. I didn't finish until March of 2016. It was called The Capitol. It wasn't a very military themed story. It was just something that was on my mind. It was about two guys who started a mutual fund company, and they were actually getting in trouble with the mob. And I liked the story. I thought it was pretty good. I turned it into a novel and an audiobook. So March 2016 was the very first script that I finished, The Capitol. And that makes 2026 my 10-year anniversary, which is a very substantial benchmark in a screenwriter's career. This is a time where you should be ripe and ready for the world to make your splash. You should be selling your first script, getting your first assignment, maybe getting an agent. I've already had two managers already. Maybe getting an agent, your very first big break. That's what they're saying in Hollywood. 10 years to your first big break. So this is my 10 year. So I wrote my very first script. And the reason that, like I said, I love movies. And once I learned how to make movies and I got on set, I love movies even more. And once I found out something that I love, that I can do, and that I actually had some money to actually go and study acting and study screenwriting on my GI Bill, and some money that I had saved up, I was able to actually spend a lot of time around the industry and learn this stuff. Okay, and while I was learning this stuff, I really developed the why. Not the how, but the why was I here? Why did I like to do this? I like movies. As I learned to act, as I learned to write screenplays and read screenplays and analyze screenplays to write screenplays, I learned that I also like to tell stories. I like to tell my stories. I like to express myself artistically in an entertainment module, and entertain, and hopefully entertain the masses. So I like to tell stories, and I don't just like to tell, stories that appeal to a certain niche. I like to tell stories that appeal to the commercial mainstream. So that's why I'm here. So you tell me, why are you here? Why are you studying screenwriting? Why do you want to be here? I tell you one thing, that you're not going to be able to survive unless you really like movies, because LA turns into a desert town. So if you've ever watched a Western, that's what LA can become when you're a screenwriter. It can become dead and dreary and dry. Some people are cranky because they're having a bad mood. They're in a bad mood. They too got laid off from their job or fired, and it becomes dead. I really learned how dead LA can become during COVID when everything shut down. It was really trying, and it forced me to dig deep to figure why I was here. And with that, since I love screenwriting so much, I spent all my unemployment money on screenwriting classes and screenwriting books. I was already 4 years in. I already had a few scripts, but since it was COVID and I was unemployed anyway, I was able to take online classes, and I took a bunch of online screenwriting classes. I published all of my 4 scripts at the time. I was able to write about 4 more scripts during the 3 years of COVID. I took dozens of classes in genre like sci-fi, horror, action, fantasy. I took a bunch of comedy writing classes. And with that, I can pretty much screenwrite features and television. I can write pretty much across the board. I can write just about in any genre. I have rom-com, I have fantasy, I have war, I have action, I have thriller, I have horror. I can write in TV. I have both multicam sitcom, and I have 1 hour drama, and I have won awards in both. I've won awards in TV. I've won awards uh, in features. Okay, why? Because my why was so strong. Why I was here, I knew that I loved screenwriting. I knew that I loved watching movies, and I loved watching TV from my time as a kid. I grew up with this stuff. My why was strong, where I was able to uh, work through the hard times of of COVID. Okay, so what is your why? Why are you here? Okay, so what is your origin story? If you can write these things down, I mean, if you can be really organized, if this is your first 1 through 3 years, if you're really organized, I would create a document where you create your origin story. Why? Because you need to know your why you're here, why you love this. And also, this stuff goes into something called your bio. What a lot of producers and agents and managers are going to want, they're going to want to see something called a bio, which is a little blurb about yourself. Why did you come to LA? How did you get into screenwriting? Where did you study? And once you give them a good, strong why, and you put a little humorous tag to it, it will be a powerful tool to market yourselves to people around you when you have that script and you're really ready to start pitching it to producers and managers and agents and even friends. Okay, so your why is very important, and part of that why is your origin story. Okay, and again, when did you first fall in love with movies? Like I said, I first fell in love with movies back in 2004. It was about 2004 when I did my first job, background acting for Nicolas Cage. Could have been even earlier than that. I actually actually got to the semifinalist round of the first season of Donald Trump's TV series, The Apprentice. He had his first season, he did a bunch of talks in downtown Philadelphia. I went to the Lowe's. They put a bunch of people, like 1,000 of us. There were lines, and we all sat in round tables, and we all just kind of pitched ourselves. And then I got a call like a week or so later, and they said, "Hey, you made it to the next round." They called me up, and then I answered. I did an interview, and they said, "Hey, you made it to the next round. You're a semifinalist." And then they said, "We're going to call you in a week or so, and you're going to have to sell us a bucket of sand. And they called me a week ago. I tried to sell them a bucket of sand, and I couldn't do it, so I failed. But that was probably my biggest. That was probably the closest I came to TV. But my actual working gig was in 2004 with National Treasure. So that's my origin story. That's when I first fell in love with movies and the entertainment industry. Also, you want to kind of identify who helped you along the way. I would say that the people that helped me along the way would be the casting directors in Philadelphia. Uh, they were the main proponents of me as an actor getting into writing, and with that, they pumped up a few screenwriting books, Story by Robert McKee. I went and bought that way back in 2004, and I had it in my collection ever since. I can't wait to meet the guy so we can autograph it. But that's when those were one of the people that helped me along the way. Another person that helped me along the way was a man named Peter Russell. He's not with us anymore. He was the first guy that taught me how to analyze movies. I took his story analysis class at UCLA Extension, and we just sat and we were able to watch movies, and he taught the whole class what made this movie so great, why did this movie achieve so much money at the box office, why did this movie win all Oscars, and he gave us a blueprint for how to break down movies, from concept to plot to we even had to do coverage for classes. We broke down movies, we broke down TV shows, and that really developed an analytical mind that I use to watch movies and be able to decipher movies and have those great elements in my script as well. He gave me something called the beginning, middle, obstacle, and climax. And that's kind of what I do where in my screenplay, that's really covered by the Save the Cat beat sheet that I pretty much use. And he gave me an analytical mind to watch movies and break them down. Another guy that helped me was Randy Greenberg. He was my professor of business and management of entertainment, and he gave me a financial mind at looking at movies. He said, always look at the numbers. Whenever your movie comes out, you gotta see what the opening numbers are. You gotta see how much your favorite movies made at the box office, because that really tells you how much the audience loved it. And in the entertainment industry, it's all going to be about the numbers, because it's really a business. It's show business, not show art. Show business, not show art. And you got to know the business side of this thing, because if you don't understand the business side, you're going to suffer as a screenwriter, because they're going to keep dinging you and keep cutting up your scripts, because they're not going to have enough business prowess to really have legs in the industry. So Randy Greenberg really taught me the business side, another side of business, to look at the numbers. And other than that, I would say a lot of the business gurus of Hollywood, Michael Hagg, John Truby, Linda Seeger, she's not with us anymore, Robert McKee, Christopher Vogler. These are the people that really inspired me. Michael Hagg and Chris Vogler have a DVD out, The Hero's Journey. That really inspired me to look at movies and scripts from a creative point of view. So, what you want to do is try to notate the people and remember the people that helped you along the way to get to this point. That inspired you to become a screenwriter, that helped you to become a screenwriter, that helped frame your mindset in being a screenwriter. Because that all these people help you shape your why. Because some of these people inspire you so much that you just fall in love with the movie industry. And that's fuel to the fire. And I really do admit that all these guys, man, when I first came to Hollywood, these guys were straight out of the movies. I mean, these guys were so enthused by movies. They were so clever. They were so funny. They were so into it. I mean, when I would watch TV and watch all things about movies, I would see guys like them on the TV screen. And just to meet some of these guys and be around the movie industry and be around some of these legendary places, it was just fuel to the fire. You know, I went to UCLA, which is really known as a haven for screenwriters. You know, David Koepp, um, Justin Lance Black, Sid Field, who wrote the first book, one of the first books on screenwriting, screenplay, Eric Roth, obviously countless other people, countless other screenwriters went there. I think Ava DuVernay went to UCLA as well, and it was really an honor to go to that place and study entertainment at such an esteemed institution. Another place that I went to was USC. I actually kind of went to the library during the summer vacation. Um, I think um, I think class is going to be in session pretty soon. But I used to go. I went last year during the summertime. Just hung out in the cinematic arts library, and that was the home of people like George Lucas, Ron Howard, Robert Zemeckis, Ryan Coogler, Shonda Rhimes, Forrest Whitaker. They all went to USC. So stepping foot on a campus like that, that was such an honor. So it wasn't necessarily who helped me, or what helped me, or where helped me as well. UCLA and USC. I've been on the campus of AFI, where it was funded by Sidney Poitier, Francis Ford Coppola, the one that won the Oscar for cinematography this past year, Autumn DeWalt Archipel. She went to AFI, so I've been able to go there and take pictures. So those places are like a who that helped me along the way in becoming a screenwriter, because I was able to get by legend. And above all, I was able to walk up and down Hollywood Boulevard dozens and dozens of times and see the stars. And that really inspired me to be a screenwriter. And so once you figure out who helped you along the way, the next step is figuring out a vision. What do you want to be? What is your end state as a screenwriter? And what is your mission? How are you going to get there to that vision? So my vision as a screenwriter, I affirm it just about every morning. I'm Tony McBride. I'm a screenwriter. I won dozens of Oscars and grossed billions at the box office. So my vision is seeing myself grab that Oscar after grossing billions at the box office and winning dozens of Oscars, and being known as a great screenwriter. That's my end vision. My mission to do that is writing quality scripts and doing the right things as a screenwriter to get to that vision. So writing quality scripts, I try to crank out a good script every year, at least one. This year I've already done about 3 scripts. I've done 2 features, and I've done 1 pilot. Hopefully I'll finish another pilot by the end of this month. And that'll be about 4 scripts. And I'll be so proud. Last year I did 5 scripts. So I plan on cranking out quality scripts that are award-winning scripts, that I get noticed for, and people recognize me. And then once people start to recognize me, I'll get that agent, I'll get that script sale, and then hopefully I'll win an Oscar after making dozens of great movies, and then I'll be on the stage winning an Oscar. Hopefully. That's my vision. So have a vision for yourself. If you don't have a vision, you're not going to have any kind of substantial goal that you're working towards. And when you're just floating in the black, life is going to get hard, especially the screenwriting life. Having that vision helps you to do something that's very important as a creative person, which is daydream. The more dreams you have, and the stronger those dreams, the more fuel you have to the fire, the more you have in pushing past the darkness, past the obstacles, past the negativity, and the more drive you have pushing towards that vision. So, develop a vision for your screenwriting, which is your end state. Whether it's 10 years from now, 20 years from now, or on your deathbed, have an end state vision for your screenwriting. And once you get it, create another end state vision. Okay, so for features, I kind of said, I want to win that Oscar. For TV, I want to be an Emmy-winning showrunner. You know, I can do both, so I wouldn't mind doing both, features and television. So have that mission and vision, guys. And also, the next point is, how are you going to survive? All right, I'm going to tell you this up front. Screenwriting is hard. If you're going to do screenwriting right, if you're going to be good at screenwriting, you got to know this one fact that screenwriting is hard. Screenwriting is going to get hard. You're going to have that beautiful script that you spent 2 or 3 months to write, maybe more. You think it's going to win an Oscar on the first draft of your very first script, and it's complete garbage. And some consultant, some agent, some manager is going to tell you it in one way or another, and you're going to have to do a page one rewrite. Okay, and you're going to have to do a page one rewrite, and it's going to hurt your feelings, and you're not going to know what to do. And unlike other people that may be related to a veteran director, producer, you're not going to get your first big break in your first year of screenwriting. You're going to have to go to school for a few years and then get out and write a few scripts, and then maybe get your big break. Now it's getting harder and harder to get your big break. These guys getting their big breaks too soon are destroying the movies, and the industry is starting to gravitate towards AI. And so, how are you going to survive the darkness mentally? Well, one way of surviving is one, finding why you love it. You're going to have one way to survive is keying in on your love, and even if you have an object or symbol like a size or script from your very first show, a picture with you and a star, a selfie with somebody, lean on that. You need to know how you're going to survive the darkness emotionally. Another way of surviving is taking classes. When you get down and out, there's nothing better than taking classes, because those classes really fuel your love for the movies, especially when you take a good one. I was taking classes at UCLA. I was taking online classes. I was in mentorships. And the closer I got to movies with good training, the more I loved movie making, because I got good at it, and I actually learned how to analyze good movies and make good movies and write out good movies and television shows. Right? And the more I got accepted, more, taking these classes and these mentorships, the more knowledge I got, the more energy I got, the more foundation I was able to build, and the more energy I was able to conjure up to pursue my goals and push through the darkness. So classes are a great way of surviving. A tribe is a great way of surviving. Having people around you that support you, that you meet up with often. Like me, I'm a veteran, a military veteran, and part of my tribe is the veterans in Hollywood. We have a group. There are about 1 or 2 or 3 groups for veterans in Hollywood. We meet up about 3 or 4 times a year, 3 to 4 times a year in person. There are events on Zoom that we hang out in, and those are my tribe. I talk to those guys. They know me. We knew each other for years. We shake hands. We hang out at meetups. It's good, and we support each other. I also have different writing groups that I have. There are a bunch of online portals that you can go to. Stage 32, Roadmap Writer, Virtual Pitch Fest. The Blacklist has events that they hold out. Find your tribe. Whatever school you went to study screenwriting, or whatever alumni association that you may be a part of. See if they have one in LA, because a lot of schools have alumni associations. Maybe your ethnicity, maybe your religion, maybe where you grew up, maybe, I don't know, some kind of fetish that you may have. Um, Find a tribe of people that you have a commonality with. Once you start screenwriting, you're going to find a tribe, because once you start writing and submitting, you're going to start Googling screenwriting, and you're going to start finding all kinds of associations and organizations, and you're just going to find your specific niche tribe. And even your screenwriting genre, horror, sci-fi, action, war, they have their own unique groups. I know there are a few horror groups out there in Hollywood that that I belong to. I haven't been to the meetup yet, but I need to get to one sometime soon. There are a lot of film festivals that you can go to and meet people. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in screenwriting that you can do. So find your tribe. And another way to survive is how you're going to survive is really you're going to have to survive. You're going to have to depend on yourself. You're going to have to build yourself up as a person. I have a morning routine where I get up, I meditate, I may pray, I may chant, I may listen to motivational speeches. I have a scheduled regimen. If you look at my phone, my calendar, my all my time, my whole days are blocked off from phone time to meeting time to webinar time. And then when I go to bed, I have a night routine where I also chant and pray and do hypnosis and subliminals and all that other good stuff. The only way you're going to survive, you're going to have to survive on yourself. And by that, you have to have a good mental and physical regimen for yourself. You have to have a good routine to help maintain yourself psychologically and physically. So psychologically, I have that morning routine, the night routine. Also, what is very key to surviving in the industry is dealing with negativity, stress, upset, defeat, all the bad things that happen to screenwriter. Bad notes, breaking up with your boyfriend and girlfriend, getting fired from your job, getting rejected from the festival, getting rejected from the mentorship, having somebody insult you. I even dealt with all of that stuff, and then on top of that, I was due to all of that. That caused me to drink a lot. Especially during COVID, I was drinking a lot of red wine, tequila, all the tequila shots that you were doing, hanging out with your buddies, turn into a problem. It's going to turn into a problem when you start dealing with a lot of stress and negativity. And you want to make sure you have that tribe around you that can kind of tell you that, hey, man, you drink too much. And you also want to have a system for dealing with your negativity. And how I deal with negativity, I keep an exact Excel spreadsheet of all the negative things that happen to me. And then I kind of have a vent statement where I vent about those things. I deal with my emotions. I go look at a wall, scream those emotions at the wall, and reframe that negative event into something positive. That helps get that negative emotion out of my system psychologically and physically, and reframe it. Because when these things stick into your mind and your body, these negative emotions, they start causing real problems. They lower your hormone levels, they increase your cortisol level, and then lowering your T level, which is for the males, which is for me. The negative events lowered my T levels, my cortisol levels were increased. That caused me to overeat. So I was eating junk food, I was eating sugar, and then I was drinking excessively, especially during COVID. And it caused huge, huge problems. And I'm an older male. And it started affecting my skin, and it started affecting my eyes. I would be on a Zoom, and people knew I was drinking. My eyes were pie-eyed red. Then it would turn red and purple and orange. My hair was falling out. Well, actually, my hair fell out. I was having all kinds of physical problems, especially during COVID. I was one ugly, crazy-looking, zombie-looking dude. And all of my tribe and all my friends knew that, that I was drinking too much. And they even caught me a few times drink. Everybody was kind of doing it over COVID. Everybody was kind of had like Crown Royal or some kind of red wine. And they saw me drinking, and then they were like, Tony, what's in the cup? And I would see something I'm drinking too, especially during the first days. But you guys have to find a way to deal with negativity, stress, defeat, even unemployment. Sometimes you may lose your job, you may not have a job, and that unemployment plus the low hormones, the low testosterone levels, and the high cortisol level, it's going to cause problems. It's going to cause you to overeat. It's going to cause you to overdrink. It's going to cause some people to be angry and violent to some people. Me, I was defeated, so I would not wash for like 5 or 7 days. I would let my hair grow out. I would let a beard grow. I would start drinking, so I would be ugly, woolly, body odor, antisocial. These things really, really affect you. So you need a system of dealing with negativity. So if you can afford one, I would definitely get some kind of therapist. They do have online resources where you can get an online therapist. I know a lot of people use it. I tried it myself. I couldn't afford the membership, but I definitely needed it. Another thing that I really used and take seriously is Alcoholics Anonymous. If you do find yourself drinking in a situation where people are telling you that you drink too much, that you're either pie red, that you're missing appointments, that you're missing classes, that you're missing work. I was all of the above. I missed work. I missed classes because I was having a problem. When I was drinking so much during COVID, it became keyed into my psyche, and I would miss classes, doctor's appointments. I would miss work, and became a real big problem. And when people are telling you that you have a problem, you need to get into some kind of therapeutic help. And Alcoholics Anonymous is free. I really do suggest taking those seriously. They have them online. They have them in person. I had mine through the VA. They have community Alcoholics Anonymous throughout Los Angeles. So pick your neighborhood that you want to go into and go to an Alcoholics Anonymous. They have an online portal where you can find meetings. So have a system for dealing with negativity, and have a tribe for how you want to survive emotionally. The next question is, how are you going to survive financially? You need a job. I studied acting for 4 years straight. I went to at least two different conservatories, and I studied acting all day long. I would go in and study acting. I would go in about 8 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I wouldn't leave until 10 o'clock at night. All day for like 4 years, I would study acting. And it takes a toll on you. And I wasn't making any money. I spent up all my savings, spent up all my GI Bill. And it took a toll on me psychologically. It took a toll on me physically. My T levels were low because studying acting and screenwriting all day, you're not working, you're not achieving, you're not making a paycheck, and my body just started to just slack off. And you need some kind of employment. I recommend really doing something outside of screenwriting, like getting into some kind of sales or customer service or tech support is ideal because you get to work with people, you get to hear true dialogue, you get to hear random chat, you get to work with other people, you get to get up and get out and experience life. Some people are against working. I'm not against working. I like to work. I need to work. If I don't work and be active, I really turn into some kind of a slouch. So, how are you going to survive financially? What I really wish I could have done if I don't have a job, I really wish I would have started some kind of online business like flipped houses or wholesale, or even did a social media channel like some people do, like I'm doing now. I wish I would have done this about 10 years ago because a lot of guys that are making the millions are saying they started this thing 10 years ago. And 10 years goes by so quickly. Even when I first started my first YouTube spiel, um, which was 2024, late 2024, I wish I would have stuck with it consistently because I would have had more followers and I would have been able to monetize. Now I'm trying to catch up in 2026 and trying to get 1,000 followers, get a few thousand followers. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I guess it's going to take a few more years to do it. But I'm doing this because I love it, and I want to reach out to screenwriters. But how are you going to survive? And one key rule is how you're going to survive is you need a 10-year plan. Screenwriting is a 10-year plan. It's not a 1-year plan. It's not a 3-year plan. You have to plan staying in Hollywood for 10 years. Everybody that's a professional screenwriter says that you don't really get your first big break until 10 years out. Okay? If you're getting it before then, you're very lucky. But you want to have a 10-year plan. So you're going to have a 10-year plan of, one, your schooling is going to be about 3 to 4 years. And hopefully you're living with your family or have some kind of welfare or some kind of support. I had the GI Bill that was paying for my subsistence. And then at the 4 years, you're going to want to have all your hardcore training. Then you want to have a plan to have night classes while you're working during the day, or day classes while you're working during the night. Okay, a lot of filmmaking and screenwriting classes are held during the day, so you want to have a plan for 10 years out. How are you going to work? How are you going to work and take classes? And then you also want to carve out some time for your social life. You definitely want to try to have as much of a social life as you possibly can as a screenwriter, because you want to have your mental health. And on top of that, you want to have a good, vibrant social life outside of creativity, because that social life helps fuel your creativity. Okay, so how are we going to survive? How are we going to survive mentally? How are you going to survive financially? And finally, how are you going to survive physically? One very important thing is eating healthy. You want to make sure that you have a healthy diet. Okay, you definitely, absolutely want to stay away from fast food as much as you can. And I must admit, I eat fast food because I'm still overcoming some things that have weakened me to a point where I'm still acting out of compulsion, but I still eat healthy. I take, if you look over my left shoulder over there, you'll see a bunch of canisters. You see a big, nice white canister of protein. You see a big bag of omega-3 capsules. You see a bunch of bottles over here which have a bunch of natural supplements. I'm taking natural supplements to heal my body. You want to have a plan to survive physically and have a good supplement stack. Have a nice multivitamin. Have a nice protein shake. I use Owen. It's vegan protein. Doesn't have that milk in it. It doesn't have a lot of salt in it. It has a lot of probiotics. It's not too expensive, and it's great. I also have omega-3 capsules. You want to make sure you have a good omega-3 intake, because your mind is going to go. As a creative, your mind is going to be challenged in so many ways, and the stress and the pressure is just going to drive you nuts. And your omega-3 are going to be crucial. So a good multivitamin, good protein, and good omega-3 is key to your health. Also, you want to make sure you have a good healthy diet. You want to get fruits and vegetables and fish. I eat a lot of salmon. I eat the tilapia. I eat the impossible meat. Every once in a while, I will eat, a steak for the red meat and the protein and the iron. A lot of people in Hollywood don't eat the meat like that, especially steak. But me, I work very laboriously, and so every once in a while, make once a quarter, I may try to eat some steak. It's up to you. I may even eat some chicken for the protein. A lot of people don't eat the chicken. I eat chicken sparingly. I don't eat chicken as much as I used to. I would say around June 19th, I was with this one woman, and she was like, she doesn't really eat meat. She's vegetarian. So I kind of adopted that and just kind of went impossible for the most part. But have a good diet. You want to have a lot of protein. You want to have good vitamin intake, and you want to have your good vitamin stack. Your health, your physical health is going to be crucial, because you're going to be doing a lot of walking, a lot of traveling. Whether you're driving or taking public transportation, you're going to be doing a lot of traveling. That means you're going to be climbing stairs. You're going to be going to meetings, getting on an elevator. And trust me, traveling takes a lot out of you. Okay? So you want to take care of your physical health. And finally, you want to have some kind of exercise program. Okay? Have an exercise program. I try to work out at about 2 times a week. This week was Insanity Week. Insanity is a physical aerobics program where I get up in the morning and I do cardiovascular calisthenics. It's led by Sean T. And those things are hard, but they keep me in good shape. I like the challenge of doing them. And I'm in my living room. I was in my living room 5 o'clock this morning and doing it. Sometimes I go upstairs to my gym and I work out. If you want to know what my gym looks like, you can catch my video on where I live. And Have a good physical program. I used to try to get in the gym 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I would try to get into the gym. You know, I would coordinate between cardiovascular, gym day, and working out in the gym, free weights, gym day. So I would combine free weights, and I was in good shape. I'm in good shape now, but I'm a little older, and a wise man told me, look, man, you got to work out according to your age. You can't be trying to be a bodybuilder here at 52. And it was sometimes some days where I just couldn't get up and get out and work out 5 days a week like I wanted to. But this week was pretty good to me. But as I get older, I had to cut down on my working out. But have a plan to work out physically. Get a membership to the gym. Planet Fitness, the Purple Gym, they have one downtown. They have one up in North Hollywood. They have them all the way around. They can range between $10 a month to $40 a month. I definitely would recommend Planet Fitness if you have one. They're only about $10 a month, $40 membership fee, $40 annual fee. But they're $10 a month. I used to, one of my good gyms was the Y, which was about $40 a month. They gave it to me about 35. They gave it to me on a discount. I forgot the reason. I think it was because I had a disability. But get a cheap one if you can, especially as a screenwriter. Try to get one close to you. If you can get an apartment, if you live in an apartment, try to get an apartment that has a gym, like at least the gym with like a treadmill and a bike and a little workout. I mean, if you live in a home, if you have to share share a home. I'm assuming that you guys are poor. I mean, if you're affluent, you probably have a gym in your basement or whatever. But you probably have your own gym. But if you're not, if you're struggling, I'm assuming that you're struggling. Get a gym that's close to you. If you can get an accountability partner, that would be great. And have something that's consistent because you're going to need your body 100% in this screenwriting game, because a lot of times you see me out and about going to meetups, and you're going to need strong legs, strong arms, a strong heart, a strong brain, and you're going to need to be present. You're going to show up physically, and you're going to literally have to show up to your meetings. Like I said, when I was during COVID, when I was abusing my body, when I was drinking and stuff like that, when I was drinking, hold on for 1 second. When I was drinking, I was really killing myself physically, and I wasn't working out as much. And during COVID, we couldn't work out because the gyms were closed for like a year, and that means my body kind of fell out, and that was very terrible. So my body not working out and drinking a lot really caused my body to start to react. And then my hair was falling out, and then my skin was turning red, like I said before, and it was getting really bad. And my eyes would turn red. It was taking a toll. And as you get older, some of you younger people, as you start getting older, abusing your body is really going to start causing some health problems. A lot of guys that are entertainers talk about how they're having pancreatic cancer, or the pancreas, they almost died because they were drinking and smoking weed and smoking cigarettes and drinking this and doing that. And now they're at 50 and 60 and they're having pancreatic problems, colon problems, heart problems and stuff. And I'm right there with them because my spleen was hurting. My skin was turning, and luckily I was able to stop drinking. And hopefully by the end of this year, I would like to stop eating sugar, have a control on the sugar, control on the sugar. But I'm still struggling with that. And you want to take care of yourself physically. Okay, so how are you going to survive physically? You want to have a plan for everything. Okay, so that's my final point. Have a plan. Have a plan for everything. Okay, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's the saying. All right, you got to have a plan as a screenwriter. Okay, so why are you here? When you figure out why you're here, once you figure out that why, you'll be able to go to the next step, which should be the next step for my next video. Have a plan. Hold on for a second. I'm going to write that down. Have a plan. That'll be my next video. Have a plan. What's going to be your plan? Okay, so that concludes my video. The title of this video is Why Are You Here as a Screenwriter? This is the first thing that you need to think about. You need to watch this video and think about all these things that I was talking about so you can have a strong foundation moving forward as a screenwriter. Okay, guys? Hey, I want you guys to share this video. All my videos are going to be somewhat informal until I learn how to, master this editing where I can give you some really good looking videos and clean. But I like the informal videos. When I watch videos, I like watching them informal. I like watching people in their bedrooms or their kitchens or by their, mowing the lawn or something like that. I don't need to see fancy graphics sometimes. But when you give me a straight up talk, mano a mano, eye to eye, that means a lot more to me. That means a lot more to me than fancy. But that's it. Why are you here? So I'm Tony McBride, also known as Tony the Screenwriter, giving you guys some helpful tips of what I've learned my 10 plus years of screenwriting, 14 years as an entertainment enthusiast in Hollywood, reaching out to you guys to help you guys navigate your time here, okay? So that's it. Make sure you comment on this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video, and follow me across all social media platforms, Anthony McBride or Tony the Screenwriter. All right? You guys have a great day. Bye.